All right, boys, we are back. We have Premier League predictions for Match Week 26. Before I get into the Match Week 25 recap, I just want to say I appreciate everybody who's been watching the videos, liking the videos, commenting down below your predictions, and also subscribing to the channel. We have just gotten past 8,000 subscribers, and they could not have been done without you guys, so I just want to say I really appreciate all of that. Next goal, I was going to say 9,000, but it feels like we're smashing these goals, so maybe the next goal is 10,000. And I want to say if we get to 10,000 subscribers before, let's say, the football season ends, then we could definitely pop in a couple more leagues. I know some people have been asking about Bundesliga and La Liga again. I'm just kind of a little swamped with some of the videos that I'm doing with like Champions League, Europa League, even Conference League for when the playoffs come back. So those are coming up for sure. And then I'll try to introduce another league, but let's get to 10,000 subscribers first. Let's do the Match Week 25 recap. All right, so Match Week 25 for me was a bit average. We had some good spots. We had some spots where some people, kind of warned me, and I still went for it anyway. So let's get to that. So I had Leeds winning 1-0. They win 3-1. I was very surprised by this. It did not feel like that type of match where we would see a lot of goals. Also, Forest scoring was not really something I thought about happening. 1 out of 3 in the markets there, so pretty bad match, even though I got the result right. Manchester United and Tottenham, I was feeling that United win. I did not think Tottenham would get a red card, of course, so maybe that kind of, hindered them from scoring. Again, 1 out of 3 on the markets there, but I did get the result right again. Arsenal versus Sunderland, the 2-0 all reliable prediction was almost there until the very, very, very late goal, so it ends 3-0, 2 out of 3 on the results there. Bournemouth versus Aston Villa was the exact score that I got this week, so that ends 1-1. That felt like a great draw to predict. Burnley versus West Ham is the one where, yes, it went very poorly. I had 2-0 Burnley, then 2-0 West Ham. You could look at the match and try to figure out forensic. Why would you ever predict Burnley to win this match? I just figured, crazy things happen in the Premier League. I kind of, explained the whole idea of relegation battle, Burnley at home, their very, very last chance. And to not even score is just basically anything, it's basically everything I need to know about Burnley. And it's a weird one, right? 2 out of 3 on the market's right, but still getting the result wrong just feels like a very terrible prediction there. But I got to be a little bit easier on myself because, 1 out of 3 and 2 out of 3, still kind of good, still kind of bad, depending on how you look at it. Fulham versus Everton, I had 1-1 draw. It ends 2-1 for Everton. Another late goal snatched away from me at the very end, and we go 1 out of 3 there. Wolves and Chelsea, I had 3-1 for Chelsea, and it ends 3-1. Felt great about that one. Chelsea just destroyed Wolves, it seems like. So that one, I guess, made sense there. Newcastle and Brentford was probably, in my opinion, the worst, prediction of Match Week 25 here. And I know it's 0 for 3 on the markets, but just my entire idea of, Newcastle not only winning, but winning to 0, and Brentford go into Newcastle and drop 3 of their own and snatch the win. So shout out to Brentford for that result. Did not see that coming at all. Brighton Crystal Palace, I had 1-1 there, and it ends 1-0 for Crystal Palace. I'd predict that one again and again. I think you simulate that match more times, we're getting that 1-1 draw. Just pretty crazy. It's like Villa last week, just not scoring at home in a match that just seemed like you could have made it 1-1 at any point, but no. So 1 out of 3 there, and then Liverpool versus Manchester City. I had 2-1 for Liverpool, and it ends 2-1 for City. I'm not really sure how I feel about this one. I watched the entire match, which maybe makes it a little bit more complicated for me to understand, how my prediction was going, how it ended up being. I really thought I had a chance to get, 2-1 Liverpool, but, City score late there. There was, 0-0 until the 80th minute, so crazy match, great match. I think one of the best Prem matches of the season so far. But in any case, I did not get the result right there, but 2 out of 3 on the market. So as you can see here, I got 6 out of 10 on the BTTS. I got 5 out of 10 on the 1x2, and it looks like I got 5 out of 10 on the over-under. So it feels like a 5 out of 10 type of, week for me. The only reason I'm going to bump it up to maybe a 6.8 is just because I got 2 exact scores right. If I didn't get any exact scores right, yes, this would have been totally like a 5 out of 10 here. Not too bad, but I got to do a lot better. The nice thing is we do have the leaderboards here kind of situated for Match Week 25, so if you can see yourself on this list, that means you had a pretty good week overall. We had Min, Hamza, and Amir that came in the top 3 here with 3 correct scores of their own. So it seemed like some people really saw the match week a little bit better than me, which is awesome to see. So make sure if you guys want to be on this leaderboard here, you're going to fill out this form, select your platform, pick your name here if you've already participated. And if you haven't already participated, make sure you enter your new name here so you can get on the sheet. And then just like this week, next week, I will track who did what, and we can show that off in the next video. Let's get to the Match Week 26 predictions. First match we have is Chelsea versus Leeds, and we see Chelsea at 1.55 and Leeds at 5.75. Right away, the odds look pretty straightforward to me, right? Chelsea should be about 1.55. I don't think Leeds is that crazy to be at 5.75. I don't really see Leeds getting the result here, but let's see if there's anything that can kind of help us, decide that. Both teams scores at 1.7, so a little bit respect to Chelsea's. Chelsea's defending here to not allow Leeds to get a goal possibly, and then the total sits at about 3, so nothing that sticks out to me in this match right away. Chelsea at home has been pretty decent recently, getting 2 out of 2 wins in the Prem. Leeds away from home have no wins in their last, 5? Oh, it's been a while since Leeds have won away from home, which probably explains the odds here. So without trying to, come up with any reasoning to give Leeds a result here, for Chelsea and Leeds, I'm going to go with a 2-1 Chelsea win. I know people were asking to bring this back. I don't have enough space below to make it look clean, so this will be the best way I can do it. So follow along with this or follow along with just what I say, Next match we have is Everton versus Bournemouth. We have Everton sitting at 2.38, Bournemouth sitting at 3. Kind of a tough one because Everton are coming off that really nice win against Fulham away from home, and Bournemouth are coming off, I would say, a pretty decent draw against Aston Villa as well. So we see Everton at 2.38, Bournemouth at 3. We see the both teams score at 1.67, which is a little bit surprising to me because I feel like that gives a little bit more respect to Bournemouth than I would have originally thought. And then we have the over-under sitting at 2.5. So I'll be honest, this match right away, if you kind of know me and how I predict matches, you probably are thinking I'm going with a 1-1 draw. But it's something that I wasn't too sure about because maybe is this like Everton's time to start making a run here a little bit because they have been pretty nice lately. I don't think Everton are that bad as people may think. And then Bournemouth away from home, it just hasn't been that great. Now they do score in a lot of them, so that kind of explains the both teams score market. But this is where I get a little tricky here. So both teams scores at 1.67, which is pretty normal number. But this match feels like a 1.5 both teams score no. And I'm just going based off of the fact that Bournemouth here have a lot of both teams to score here in their recent matches away from home. But I'm guessing Everton have a lot of clean sheets or just haven't scored in a lot of these matches. This match had me kind of going in a couple different directions on if I wanted to go for that 1-1 draw or how I wanted to approach the beats DS market. But for Everton and Bournemouth, I went with a 1-0 Everton win. Next match we have is Tottenham and Newcastle. We have the odds for Tottenham at 3. The odds for Newcastle are 2.3. So I think the first reaction would be that they are giving a little bit of respect to Tottenham here because with Tottenham's injuries and how they've been playing recently in the Prem, it seems a bit crazy to have them only at 3. But I think them being at home is kind of the reason for that. Also, though, Newcastle, they're not much better than Tottenham in the sense of being, consistent or just kind of understanding what they're going to be every week. Newcastle are a very inconsistent team that I feel like I cannot really figure out lately. Both teams' score sits at 1.57, which is kind of what I was expecting for that last match, but 1.57 seems normal. And then the total sits at about 1.73 for 2.5 goals. So another match that really, shows that they're trying to get us to like a 1-1, possibly a 2-2 draw, but with the 2.5 total, I'm not really feeling that 2-2 draw potentially. Tottenham at home, I mean, we kind of know how they've been. It's been pretty bad here recently. And against, Newcastle at home, they lost the last match. They won 4-1 before. They lost 2-1. So they kind of just go back and forth with who wins and then a draw here in 2020. Obviously, pretty long time ago. Newcastle away from home have been, it's been rough, right? Only a couple wins here to United and to Everton. Excuse me, their win was to Burnley. So I think for this match, I was kind of going in the direction of how I wanted to approach Tottenham getting a result in this match here. I'm never a big fan of going against, what the teams that are considered big six in the Prem when they're at home and they're above 2 odds to not get a result. But there's something just, I don't know. The thing that I'm worried about is all these injuries and I know people are probably thinking you always talk about how it's always baked in. This Romero red card, yes, I know the odds are reflecting it, but I think it's a big deal. And if Udogie doesn't even play, I feel like that backline's going to be in a little bit of trouble here. I still think they have enough quality to get a goal at home, but for Tottenham and Newcastle, I'm going with a 2-1 Newcastle win. West Ham and Manchester United is our next match in match week 26 here. We see the odds for United are 1.73. The odds for West Ham are 4.1. Both teams' scores at 1.53, so they're expecting goals. They're expecting an open match here, and that's very clear by the total, which is 3.5 goals for 2.2. Now, I know there's a lot of extra, factors going into this match that people are probably very, very interested in. I won't really get to that, but, I know that's here. United are going for potentially their 5th win in a row, as a lot of people might know here, right? They've beaten City 2-0. They've beaten Arsenal 3-2, which are 2 incredible wins. They've beaten Tottenham 2-0, and I still think that's an incredible win. And they've beaten Fulham 3-2. So 4 amazing matches there for United. Recently, when they've played, we've seen a draw. We've seen a United 2-1 win in that, whatever that is. What is this? PLS. And then recently when they've played, we've seen a United 1-1 draw here. We've seen a 2-0 West Ham win, a 2-1 West Ham win, and then a 3-0 United win. West Ham at home, when they've played United, have won the last 3 times as well, so maybe something to consider about that. United away from home have been kind of okay. I feel like 2 draws to Leeds and Burnley are not good, but then they followed it up with an excellent win over Arsenal. I'll be honest, this was a bit of a tough match for me to predict. I feel like West Ham has the juice. They have the vibes to be able to get a result here at home, but you have United that are moving in a crazy crazy, crazy form right now as well. But I think for me, the 1.73 maybe a little bit higher. I thought I thought West Ham wasn't that good to be getting respect at 1.73. It's definitely a match that I would like to see where it ends up maybe tomorrow, because as I'm recording this match will probably be, yeah, it's in about 24 hours from now. So let's say United move up to 1.8, could be a little bit more concerning here, but 5 in a row is tough, especially when the 5th one is away from home. So West Ham and United, I'm going with a 2-2 draw, and United fans, I'm sorry, but that's what I'm thinking. I'm thinking West Ham result. I'm thinking West Ham get a draw at home. Aston Villa and Brighton is our next match here in Matchweek 26. We got Aston Villa at 1.91 to win this match, which slightly higher than I would have thought for Aston Villa at home. And then we have Brighton at 3.8. We have both teams score at 1.67, and we have the over-under sitting at about 3. Aston Villa at home here. This Brentford loss is still just brutal to even look at. And they lost to Everton 1-0. So 2 back-to-back 1-0 losses at home. Maybe is the reason for why they're 1.9 against Brighton here. Brighton away from home, as we can see, they've lost to Fulham, Brighton away from home. They've lost to Fulham here. They have drawn City, which is a good draw in my opinion. They drew West Ham, which I guess at the time, probably a really bad draw. And then they lost to Arsenal 2-1, which is just pretty standard result there. When they played recently, Aston Villa have beaten them 4-3, 3-0, 2-2 draw, 1-0 Brighton win, 6-1 Aston Villa win. So kind of like lopsided, but also close results at the same time. Specifically at home, it seems like it's either Aston Villa getting a win here or a result of some sort. So for Aston Villa Brighton, the reason I kind of went with my prediction is because I feel like the line is a bit higher for Villa than I would have thought. Now, I'm not saying Villa should have been like 1.6 or maybe like 1.7, but I would have thought maybe like a 1.8 number would have been more normal to me here. So I feel like this price is very good for Villa, and I just don't feel like that's, going to be an easy win for the bettors when this match comes along. So Aston Villa and Brighton, I'm going with a 1-1 draw. Next, we have Crystal Palace and Burnley. We see Crystal Palace at 1.57 on the odds here. Burnley at 6.25. Both teams to score at 1.95, and the over-under sits right at about 2.5. And I'm not going to bore people with this prediction because the whole thing I did about Burnley last match week has irritated me to the point that I don't even want to discuss them anymore. Doesn't seem like they care, right? If you want to back Burnley in any sort of capacity, you can do it. I don't know at what point would you know when it's time to back them versus when it's not time to back them. Crystal Palace are sitting at home here at 1.57. Burnley are all the way down here. Now, Crystal Palace don't have much to play for, right? They're not really in danger of getting relegated. They're still pretty far off the top 5 here to make any noise. But I think with that Palace win last week, maybe some momentum they could build here off of this match. And I'm thinking Crystal Palace, Burnley, simple 2-0 Crystal Palace win. Manchester City versus Fulham is our next match here in Matchweek 26. We got City at 1.38. We have Fulham at 7. We have the draw sitting at 5.25. Both teams scores at 1.75, which is a bit higher in the sense of like a normal Prem match. When you see when you see a top team versus a mid-table team, 1.75 kind of implies like they're not really totally sure if, Fulham can score a goal here. And then the over-under sits at about 3, but I would say probably 3.5 makes more sense to me here. Now, last time I remember that we had that crazy Fulham 4-5 loss to City last time. City have beaten them just about every other time. Last time Fulham has gotten a result versus City would be, all right, it's been a while. Let's just put it that way. It's been a long time. We got City win, City win, City win, City win, City win. I don't even see a draw here any sort recently. City at home have been pretty solid overall. As we can see here, they have this 3-1 win against Newcastle, a nice 2-0 win against Wolves, and then they had that 1-1 draw against Brighton, which is pretty bad. And then we have Fulham away from home, which I think is more of the issue recently, where they've lost to Leeds, they lost United, they drew Palace. I didn't want to overthink this prediction, and I think I really could have gone with some type of, sneaky weird result, but at 1.38, I'd rather not do that. So Manchester City versus Fulham, I went with a 3-1 City win. Moving along, we have Nottingham Forest and Wolves as our next match here. We have Nottingham Forest at 1.7, Wolves at 5, and the draw at 3.8, which I think does make sense. I'm a little bit surprised how low this is. I thought it would have been a little bit higher, maybe like a 1.8, maybe 1.85, but they are feeling Forest to get a win in this match. The both team scores at 1.95, so right away it would tell me KG match, right? You got 1.7 for Forest, you got 1.95 on the BTTS, so I'm thinking Forest should win, but also the both team scoring part could be an issue here. And then the over-under, as we can see, sits at 2.5 for 1.98, so they are thinking a KG, maybe low-scoring match. Nottingham Forest at home, I mean, nothing great here. Their last win was against Tottenham 3-0 back in December. Wolves here have not gotten a win away from home. I mean, it looks like this season, yeah. So Wolves are still searching for their first win of the Prem season away from home here. Recently, when they played, we've seen a Nottingham 1-0 win, a Nottingham 3-0 win, a 1-1 draw, 2-2 draw, 1-1 draw. So it seems like either a draw or Nottingham, both teams to score no with them winning. And that's kind of what I went with in this match. And it just makes sense to me with the whole cagey idea and both teams likely not scoring. So for Nottingham Forest and Wolves, I went with a 1-0 Nottingham Forest win. Sunderland and Liverpool is the next match here in Matchweek 26. We got Sunderland at 4.75 to win this match. We have Liverpool at 1.7. We have both teams to score at 1.75, and then we have the over-under at 2.5, probably closer to 2.75, but I think it could even just kind of go back to 2.5 a little bit more before kickoff. Sunderland at home is kind of the reason these odds are the way they are, because I think if they weren't this insane at home, we would see Liverpool possibly at 1.5, maybe 1.45 for this match, but I think the books have to put somewhat respect on Sunderland at home, and as you can see here, they just haven't had a loss this season yet. Liverpool away from home have also, you know, pretty solid here with the Bournemouth loss recently, but other than that, they have been, you know, pretty good as of late away from home as well. And then we only have one result here, which was in Liverpool, and Sunderland drew that match 1-1. So this is going to be a little bit controversial, I think, because I really just don't want to take Liverpool to win this match, and then I watch Sunderland draw, and I'm thinking to myself, why did I not predict Sunderland to draw when they've been so nice at home this season? And I feel like maybe this could be a situation of a letdown game for Liverpool, because you have Liverpool who played that very, very emotional, tight, crazy match against City to just lose it at the end. And I feel like you have Sunderland here now. They're coming off their own issues of, you know, the 3-0 loss. So with all that being said, I went with a 1-1 Sunderland-Liverpool draw. A little bit crazy, but just a real gut feeling on the idea of Sunderland being good enough to, you know, protect their house, right? I don't know how else to put it. You know, I don't know what they use a different terminology for that, but I feel like Sunderland are going to, protect their house here, and they're going to draw Liverpool 1-1. And then the last match in Matchweek 26, we got Brentford and Arsenal. We have Brentford sitting at 4.75 on the 1x2. We have Arsenal sitting at 1.7. A little bit high, but also I think pretty fair. Both teams to score is 1.8, which was 1.95. That dropped now. And you have the over-under sitting at 2.5 here. I feel like this last match of the match week could be a little bit more closer and tight than we think. There's not much to really check in the Arsenal forum here. We kind of know whenever they lose a match, but overall they've been pretty solid the entire year. Best team in Europe in my opinion. And then Brentford's form is pretty decent. They don't draw a lot. They either win or it seems like they lose, but they have been very solid overall this year. And I think at home they've been pretty good as well, with the exception of this Nottingham Forest 2-0 loss. They have been pretty solid since they've lost to City 1-0 back in October of 2025. When they've played recently head-to-head, we have an Arsenal win, a draw, an Arsenal win, Arsenal win, Arsenal win. So it doesn't seem like Brentford really give Arsenal too many headaches here. Maybe the cheeky draw once in a while, but overall, Arsenal does seem to get the result against Brentford in these matches. I was really torn on this match because I wanted to go with my normal scoreline again of possibly a 2-0 Arsenal win, which I think isn't a bad prediction here, but for some reason, this last match of the match week being, here, I'm just feeling some type of weird match that probably results in either a late goal or a situation where Arsenal score maybe early and then just completely have nothing going on for the rest of the match. So for Brentford and Arsenal, I went with a 1-0 Arsenal win. All right, boys, that wraps up the predictions for Match Week 26. I appreciate everybody who's been watching all the videos again. Make sure you leave a comment down below. Make sure you like the video, and make sure you also subscribe to the channel so you can never miss another prediction video again. We'll have Champions League, Europa League, maybe Conference League. If a couple people mention Conference League in the comments, we can try to pop a Conference League, playoff predictions as well there. And then make sure you guys are filling out your form so we can get you on the leaderboard here so we can keep tracking more people in the community and all their predictions as well. I appreciate you, boys, and I will see you on the next one.